What's up, guys? This is Mike Lewis, going to be casting game number 2 between the OverAchievers now on the Radiant DoubleClickDota on the Dire. Game number 1 went to, spoiler alert, DoubleClickDota. They had a pretty good pushing comp, and a couple things just didn't go right for the OverAchievers. First of all, their Slark was never actually a giant force in the game. Their top lane, which the purpose of their top lane was to absolutely demolish whoever was there with a lane like Rubik, Naga, as well as Kunkka, you would expect the other person to really just struggle and pretty much be level 1 for the entire time. But Clockwork didn't exactly agree with that plan. So I would say between those two things being the core problems for the OverAchievers, it just snowballed into DoubleClickDota with already the very aggressive pushing lineup getting a little bit too strong, and then they just took the game with good old pushing. That's probably why we see, well, DoubleClickDota actually going to ban out the Lycan themselves this time, and Invoker, played by OverAchievers, now banned. So I guess they just don't want to play them. I mean, usually you would see it the other way around, but hell, either way, those heroes not going to be in the game. The Ember Spirit also being banned out, and OverAchievers going to first pick the Dazzle. Did get through this time, whereas last game he was first banned, along with the Ancient Apparition, which is still in the pool, so DoubleClick could go for that one. Timbersaw AA is not the scariest, but it's still pretty damn terrifying. Mostly because the two heroes are just so strong individually, so if you put them together, therefore, you're going to have a really dangerous time, right? Oh, there we go! They're going to go for Ancient Apparition, as well as the Timbersaw. I mean, I guess it was banned last game, so you would expect either OverAchievers to highly prioritize that pick, in which case that's an argument to pick it up, or, I mean, that is the reason to pick it up, because the enemies want it. So if the enemies want it, you take it, and then you work around it. And Ancient Apparition isn't exactly the hero that you're going to be upset that you picked. So, yeah. Timbersaw, Ancient Apparition, a very strong start for the DoubleClickDota side. Definitely going to go a little bit of a different route than the last game, whereas last game they had a Lycan by now. Right now, Timbersaw, Ancient Apparition going to not really show their hand at all. I mean, they could pretty much pursue any strategy. They could even go for heavy pushing again. I mean, definitely OverAchievers won't expect it. But OverAchievers with Dazzle and now Centaur Warrunner, ooh, this is going to be very interesting indeed. I'm a pretty big fan of Centaur. I think he's actually my highest win rate hero, which I don't know how that happened, but yeah, Centaur Warrunner, he's my boy. Me and him go way back. And paired up with the Dazzle is not the best combination, but I'm not too sure if they're going to be playing together. Centaur Warrunner, you actually get quite a little bit of versatility, lane versatility, when you pick up that hero. You can put him in solo, dual, or tri-lanes. Really, he works out no matter where you put him, just because no matter what, he's going to be tanky. His strength growth is pretty ridiculous, and double edge does a lot of damage. And of course, if you have setup, stomp is stomp, and stuns are stuns. They already have 2 stuns to deal with that Timbersaw. I'm sure they're going to be picking up more. So Centaur Warrunner getting a lot of bulk on the front lines, kind of a mirror pick to the Timbersaw. It's not as damage-oriented, the Centaur, a little bit more of utility-oriented, but still getting a really big body on the front lines that's supported by a Dazzle. In those mid-game fights, it'll be pretty good for OverAchievers, though, again, Ancient Apparition Timbersaw is nothing to sneeze at. So right now I would say both teams having a very similar team comp, though their goal is obviously going to be a little bit different, both with a very powerhouse mid-game right now. And I think that's why we're seeing all these powerhouse mid-game heroes being banned out. Slark, Puck, as well as Nick Sasson, more so than the Lifestealer, but still Lifestealer as far as carries go, definitely is someone who could really put the hurt on if he gets a quick armlet, or hell, just power treads, drum, something like that. Yeah, he'll make you regret that. And also, well, actually DoubleClick could have picked that up themselves. I would have actually liked to see that from them. Lifestealer is pretty good against Centaur, just because Centaur has a ton of health, and Feast is pretty good against heroes with a lot of health. But they're going to ban him out regardless. I would have actually liked to see DoubleClick pick that up, but instead they're going to go for a Lone Druid, possibly part of the pushing comp. Huh? Eh? Nah, I don't think so. But anyway, Lone Druid is going to be picked up. Ancient Apparition doesn't really have any great partners as of yet, so that he could guarantee cold feet. So DoubleClick probably going to be looking to pick that one up as far as their secondary support is concerned. Crystal Maiden at this point would be pretty good. She's not really friendly with Centaur Warrunner, just because Centaur is really big and CM is really small. But and also Centaur Warrunner, if he gets close enough, he could absolutely demolish Crystal Maiden. However, the aura is going to be pretty big for DoubleClick, not so much for the Lone Druid, but definitely for Timbersaw, AA as well. The more you could spam his skills, the more aggressive you could be, obviously. And it's a good setup for Cold Feet. Also, Ice Theme, points for style right there. OverAchievers, oh, there we go, Ogre Magi. There's a place stun, and OverAchievers is going to go with Shadow Shaman as well as Slardar. So right now they have two really, really bulky bodies on the front line, Slardar as well as Centaur. Very, very similar in how they behave, although Slardar is more carry-oriented, once again Centaur more utility-oriented. They have a ton of minus armor. They have the Weave from Dazzle. They have now the amplified damage from the Slardar. And that's, of course, going to make them all hit harder, but also it's going to make the Shadow Shaman's wards hit harder. So OverAchievers, they're just going to go real deep into the mid-game. DoubleClick, I don't know if their Lone Druid is going to be their primary farmer or not. It looks like from right now it is. Though Ogre Magi, Ancient Apparition, Lone Druid is not a lane that I would really voluntarily run. It's not a lane that I would pick and really be happy with. Lone Druid needs levels, and DoubleClick can easily pick up someone else. Lone Druid probably going to go off lane or mid lane. I mean, OverAchievers, they haven't really clearly shown their mid lane hand just yet. Shadow Shaman is probably going to be played as support. You got to get that Hex Shackle when you're playing with heroes like Centaur and or Slardar, just because you got to make sure that they have enough time to walk their slow asses up and actually land those stomps. And that's where you need the disables from Shadow Shaman. So I don't think Shadow Shaman is going to be played in the mid role. We'd see both teams actually banning out mid lane heroes. I mean, of course, Puck, Slark, Invoker. OverAchievers, wow, they're just really hating on the mid lane with their bans. I didn't notice that all of their bans were mid lane bans, but now finalizing everything up with the Storm Spirit ban. This is, of course, going to give them the advantage in this mid lane kind of game of chicken. Death Prophet also being banned out, but OverAchievers can react to the mid lane pickup of DoubleClick, and that should, in theory, give them the edge in that regard. Lone Druid, though, could always be that wild card. You could switch him out, and he's pretty good against... He's I would say, a little bit above average versus most mid lane heroes. And OverAchievers don't really have anything that can mirror that lane swap. I mean, you could put Centaur there, I guess. That's not really going to be that strong against Lone Druid, especially. So DoubleClick, they have to make their mid lane decision right now. They have the Ogre Magi Lone Druid Bloodlust combination. That's something that's pretty cool. But yeah, their lanes are looking a little bit wonky. It's going to be a Magnus. Okay, I actually could dig that. OverAchievers picking up the Shadow Fiend in response instantly, so I guess they just realized, or they just saw a melee hero and then just saw Shadow Fiend, but also minus armor is the name of the game. Now have the Weave. I'm sure we'll be getting a Medallion sometime. They have the Amplified Damage, and of course, Presence of the Dark Lord. That is a crap ton of minus armor. And DoubleClick, well, they do have the reactive armor from the Timbersaw, but if he can't stack that up, he's just going to be killed in like 3 hits. It's not going to be fun at all for him. So OverAchievers, they have a very, very clear-cut lineup. They have a pretty good idea what they're doing, and that is mid-game fight. Use the powerhouse that is our minus armor strategy in order to win all these fights. DoubleClickDota with the Magnus is going to be a little bit more team fight oriented as well. They have a lot more lockdown than OverAchievers as far as the stuns go. If they get a good RP off, then Ancient Apparition and Timbersaw are just going to have an absolute field day. So a lot of pressure is going to be on Admiral Ray's Magnus in order to actually make that happen. Whiffed RPs means that the Slardar as well as Centaur, the Shadow Fiend, can just run rampant. And when that happens, I mean, they do have Ogre Magi, they do have tools to deal with that, but it's still going to be, I would say, most of this game is going to be determined in the mid-game as far as who's going to either outright win the game or take the late-game advantage moving forward. So let's see who's going to be playing what on the DoubleClickDota side. We have Cresea. Played a pretty mean Clockwork in game number 1. Going to move over to the other mechanical steam unit. You know, Clockwork, Timbersaw, pretty similar. Going to be playing Timbersaw on the bottom lane. Admiral Ray, as I said before, is going to be playing the Magnus, holding down the fort mid. Senj played a pretty good Visage last game. Ancient Apparition, definitely a different hero, very different hero, but we'll see how he does as that hero. Top lane is going to be Lone Druid, played by Artie, and Windpulse is going to be on the Ogre Magi. On the Overachiever side, Havoc Badger is going to be playing the Shadow Shaman. Cracklebags, that is Colonel Cracklebags. On the Dazzle, Reaper is going to be on the Slaughter, aggressively laning that tri-lane from the Overachievers. The Coven will be holding down the fort. Mid lane, Shadow Fiend, and Centaur Warrunner is going to be played by Papa Karcher. We'll be going toe-to-toe with the Timbersaw. This is not a terribly skewed matchup either way, I would say. It's mostly going to be the top lane where the action is really going to be happening, and Havoc Badger now with the Haste Rune. This was spotted out by the DoubleClickDota side, though, and will they react to it? I think Windpulse and Senj, they could just mess up Havoc Badger if he gets too close, and that is a very, very real possibility. Cracklebags has Shadow Wave, so he's got to make use of that melee range if he's actually going to be using that spell effectively. Level 1, really, Dazzle level 1 is pretty trash, although Havoc Badger is going to go in, going to get the shackles off, but it's going to run out before anyone can actually get close, so, yeah, it was just a display of dominance. It was like, I can do this, therefore I will do this, just to keep you in line. So most of the action is going to happen on this top lane, where the Lone Druid is going to be in a very awkward situation. He will be able to get last hits with his bear, which is something. Usually you don't have that when you're going try like this. However, he's going to be delayed in his levels a lot. I mean, he's going to be pressured back by these very, very scary heroes on the Overachiever side. Not to mention the fact that he's going to be splitting experience with the likes of Senge as well as Wind Pulse. So the levels on the Lone Druid are going to be very, very slow. So Overachievers, I would say, although their lane is really, really wonky. I mean, they have a lot of disable. They have the eventual minus armor. It's, I would say, not as strong as the DoubleClickDota side. They have to have very, very precise fights. If they don't, Artie as well as his bear are going to be wailing on the target. And whoever they go for, instantly the Chilling Touch is going to go up. At level 2, the Cold Feet is going to go up. Wind Pulse already does have the Fire Blast. So it's going to be, at the very least, a very, very close fight in this top lane. I'm trying to figure out if I'm missing any other interactions. I mean, they have the Slardar for the melee range heal bomb on the Shadow Wave, but that's pretty much it. So Overachievers, they just really got to lock someone down and kill them quickly. DoubleClick, they are going to be mostly responsive in this lane, and when it's aggressive versus tri-lane, that's pretty much to be expected. Taking a quick look at the other lane, 7-4 for the Timbersaw versus the 3-for-3 Centaur Warrunner. I think Centaur should have more than this. I mean, he has a lot more base damage. He could go toe-to-toe with Timbersaw for quite a while. He actually does have a point in return. I don't know how much I like level 1 return on Centaur. I usually just go double-edge hoof stomp just because damage and killing things is really fun. But, you know, to each his own. Papa Karcher is going to have to get back from under that deficit. Taking a look at the mid lane, Admiral Way, 5-for-3 versus 7-7 for the Shadow Fiend. He's gotten his critical mass of souls up, and now he's going to be getting more and more. It's going to be very easy for him to hold down this lane, and unless he really, really screws up, he's not going to die. Havoc Badger, though, going to get initiated upon. There's a Chilling Touch doing a lot of damage to Havoc Badger. He will be just fine, however. Reaper's Crush holding out the Ogre Magi for getting his couple of right clicks in, forcing out a salve from Havoc Badger. But hey, a Fire Blast is really just all you need to start that fight. And really, Overachievers, they have no Hex yet on the Shadow Shaman. That's what they need, really. Gotta get Hex to let the Slardar get in close. But until that happens, Reaper is going to be tempting fate just a little bit. Havoc Badgers, as well as Cracklebags, they do have some pretty good defensive tools in this lane. Really, it's all about just YOLO diving in. And, I mean, Wind Pulse is pretty tanky. Artie's pretty far away. Senge is really far away. Reaper stepping up just a little bit too close. And Artie still getting his CS. 10-for-1 versus the 12-for-0. This tri-lane isn't getting kills. It is not locking down the enemy. And now in the bottom lane, Timbersaw taking quite a beating. Was that just a hoof stomp double edge? Yeah, that was a hoof stomp double edge. And yeah, here we go. Papa Karcher flexing his muscles down on the bottom lane. He's a strength hero, and he's going to be flexing. And he's forcing the Timbersaw back. Really, the Centaur, with this double edge, he's not really going to be worried too much about this Timbersaw reactive armor, because he could burst right through that. I mean, it's like, great, you have all the physical resistance in the world, but double edge is a really good skill. And if you could land that combination, then the Timbersaw is definitely very, very vulnerable to death, I guess I would say. And there's a hoof stomp, but yeah, not really going to happen just yet. If the kill happens in the mid lane, I'm going to be a little bit pissed. Like, the kill should not happen on that mid lane. It should happen on this top lane. Bot lane is understandable as well, but mid lane, come on. It's not going to happen in the mid lane, right? There's literally no way it's going to happen on the mid lane. See a little bit of peculiar item choice from Reaper is going to go for the Poor Man Shield. When we're taking that much chip damage, it is an understandable choice, though. Getting the agility on a strength hero, I mean, agility isn't exactly very useful to any strength hero, I would say. So it's less than ideal. It's purely a defensive pickup. He's pretty much saying, I'm not going to get a Ring of Health anytime soon. Or I'm going to be aggressive before I have the chance to pick up a Ring of Health. Because Vanguard and Slardar is a thing. That's pretty much what you go for. You take less damage when you sprint, or you mitigate some of the additional damage you take from sprint. And you're still doing a ton of damage between Crush as well as the amplified damage. And of course, any other minus armor as well. So going for a Poor Man's Shield, I don't really think this is entirely warranted. I think he probably could have just sat back and farmed up that additional however much gold. I mean, 300, that's another 200 gold for a Ring of Health. I mean, this will definitely keep him a lot a lot healthier when the fights are actually being fought. But in between, like in stages like this, when they're just poking at each other, Ring of Health is just going to be, I would say, probably better than Poor Man's Shield. I don't know the exact math on that. And it also builds into a more useful item in the long run. So I'm not entirely sure I like this choice from Reaper. And it is, you know, it's a really cheap item, so it doesn't matter all too much. Like, he could easily just buy a Vanguard anyway, or go in an entirely different direction. Rush a Blink Dagger. Who knows? But, yeah, I think this is just pretty much 300 wasted gold. Taking a look at the mid lane, 13 for 3. Magnus using the Shockwave to stay afloat. Shadow Fiend definitely having the edge there, and Artie is now back. We're going to keep our eyes glued to this top lane because the kill is going to happen here, guys. I have money on Honey Badger giving the first blood because Shadow Shaman's usually, that's what usually happens when I play Shadow Shaman. But no, I'm wrong. It's on the bottom lane. God, what a quality cast, guys. Yeah, level 3 double edge. I probably should have seen that coming because of pause time, but that's fine. That's fine. We're going to absorb that loss and roll with it. Because still, this top lane, the aggressive tri-lane, I'm going to start using aggressive in quotation marks because really they're not doing much of anything at all. The Coven might be in a little bit of trouble. We do have a Ogre Magi rotation, though he's only level 2. Can't really do too much except for set up a possible RP for Magnus, which doesn't exist yet. So Magnus is going to have to wait on that. It's just a smoke from Ogre Magi, not an Invis rune or anything like that. Would have been spotted out either way. And now the Coven might be in a little bit of trouble. Shockwave Skewer is a lot of damage, and the Coven, there's the Frost, there's the Fire Blast, and the Skewer not in time. He's going to land it anyway, but really you can't get a kill at this point. He has a regen rune, so he's not really going to care too much, but still, the Coven dodging a bullet there. Taking a look at this bottom lane where I unfortunately missed the first blood, crying tears of shame. And he's going to put the pressure on again. This is pretty much what Centaur could do. You know, just drop Timbersaw to less than half HP for free. And now, well, the Timber Chain, he's going to launch a Stampede. And it's going to be really close. Chrysia gets the Whirling Death at the last possible second. One more hit. Actually, probably Centaur needed 2 hits. So maybe not the last possible second. But, yeah, the Centaur Warrunner getting a little bit too overeager, I would say. And yes, he can chunk down the Timbersaw, but Timbersaw could easily put just as much damage, if not more, back into the Centaur. So the Timbersaw getting redemption for his earlier first blood. It's 1 for 1 in this bottom lane, and there's just an absolute bloodbath right there. And here we go. Here's the aggressive that I was expecting. Power Treads are up on Slardar, so now I think they want to fight. Are they going to eat through? Oh my god, it's the tree gank. Stay in the trees. I told you, stay in the trees. No, they're thinking about it. Reaper, though, I think that was a little bit of a tell. Like that small movement that I just did, targeting the Lone Druid. Oh, Havoc Badger. Here we go. As Luminous would say, the road to freedom. Underground road to freedom. He's gonna... He botched it. You done goofed, Havoc Badger. You done goofed. In the meantime, bottom lane is... Okay, I'm just gonna screw the bottom lane. We don't need to see that. RP was not used. That was just burst damage. You can't not watch this shenanigans that's coming out from Havoc Badger. It will be a crime, an absolute crime to ignore that. They tried, but unfortunately, while they're trying to do all these cute things, they're just losing the bottom lane. They're winning the mid lane pretty convincingly, though here comes the Ogre Magi once again. There is an RP available. Admiral Ray going to drop it, and I think they know which one's the real one. Level 2 Fire Blast, there it is, but it's a little bit too late. The Shadow Fiend already in tower range. And Centaur. Now 1-2 is going to use a Stampede. They want in on someone. They want in on Artie. They're going to get a crush. 2-man crush actually shackling up Senj. And Artie taking a lot of damage, but he's not going down just yet. Here comes Wind Pulse. Does not have a Fire Blast that he wants to use. Where is the Fire Blast? Please, someone Fire Blast. Okay, well, they're going to get a free one on the Lone Druid. That was pretty smart. Havoc Badger locking out the Ancient Apparition as fast as possible. Wind Pulse coming in, which would have, you would think it would be a retaliation kill at the very least. But instead, Lone Druid does go down. It's first death in the aggressive tri-lane, so really you can't fault him too much. But Wind Pulse still in the area. They want to put the hurt right back onto them. Is there no bear on the Lone Druid? Did he just resummon his bear? Oh, he missed. He doesn't have a bear. That's going to be really sucky. And Wind Pulse. He's going to corner Havoc Badger. There's a Shackle, though. Artie might just die again. There's a huge heal bomb from the Dazzle, and, well, he's now stuck. Havoc Badger frozen. Going to get hit by the creeps. He's going to get graved up, but I actually don't think it's possible for him to escape unless Chrysia just completely ignores him. He's going to throw the Chakram forward. The Shadow Shaman does get cleaned up. Wind Pulse going to land another stun onto Cracklebags, but Crescia probably doesn't want to go into the tower. It's a little bit too aggro for him. It's a 1-for-1 in the end, but Lone Druid should not be dying, cannot be dying for the DoubleClick side. OverAchievers, they get what they came for at the cost of the Shadow Shaman. They're going to be okay with making those trades, especially since now Papa Kircher's on the bottom lane. With all the rings in the world, this Centaur is just decked with bling. Now Reaper, though, going to get caught with the Fire Blast, does not have a sprint that he wants to use. Timbersaw going to get in there and shred him to pieces. In the meantime, Papa Kircher, yeah, with the bling, is going to be pushing down that bottom tier 1 tower. One teleportation coming in. Who is it going to be? Admiral Ray? Yeah, I don't really know if you want to be here, Magnus, because now you're down to less than half HP. Papa Kircher, got to be careful to not get too over-eager. We know what happened last time. Ice Ball going to come in. Will not hit. Admiral Ray, though, is ninja mode activated, and I think, well, Centaur has a hood, so I don't think he actually do it anymore. There's a skewer, RP, the whole 9 yards, but Admiral Ray doesn't have enough just yet. Centaur is just going to walk back to his tower. I think he should, where are you going? Just walk back to your tower. Going to land a stomp. Is he actually going to do this? Really, really tempting fate right now. I guess he knows that there's no Ice Blast, but shit, Centaur, why are you being like this? Admiral Ray going to turn on with the Shockwave. Why, Papa Kircher? Why? It's a 1-for-1, but that was... Double Edge does a lot of damage to you as Centaur. It does, guys. It really does. And... what? How the... Okay, Ancient Apparition getting a snipe on the Invoker, too. That happened as well. Wow, I'm like 50%, less than 50%, no, a little bit more than 50% on the kills seen in this game. I'm just so interested in this shenanigans that's happening on this top lane. But seriously, that should not have happened. Centaur should have just backed off, but because he died before the Magnus died, so Magnus got the experience. I mean, that is in no way a win for the OverAchievers. Papa Kircher now going to go up to the top lane. Looks like they want to dive Artie as well as Senj. There is a level 4 Chilling Touch as well as an Ice Blast, and Havoc Badger going to come around for the Hex. He is going to completely ignore the Ancient Apparition. Artie is going to be the target, and he is going to be absolutely demolished. But here comes Admiral Ray. Does not have an RP. He's going to get stuck as well. No, Papa Kirch is completely stuck, but there's the tree break, and now he's completely fine. Senj can get stunned once again. Colonel Cracklebag is going to try to stampede his way out of there. No, they're actually going to turn around for Senj. There he goes. The Centaur War Runner is going to get graved up. Going to stun Admiral Ray on his way out, but here comes Wind Pulse from the bottom end. It is still a 4v2. DCD, they need more heroes up on this top side. There is the heal once again from Dazzle. He's now completely tapped out of man by the shock. Will be enough to kill off the Ogre, and then the right clicks will be enough to kill off the Magnus. 8 for 6, and double click. Where are the rest of their heroes? Where is this Timbersaw, most importantly? Timbersaw would have had an absolute field day if he was there. Like everyone from OverAchievers, I mean, first of all, Centaur War Runner was bacon if the Timbersaw was actually there. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't have happened if Timbersaw was there. But sometimes Timbersaw just has to be in other places, and that's going to lead them to a 3-kill deficit in that short exchange, plus death of their tower. I don't think Honey Badger's going to shatter from Havoc Badger. Havoc, Honey, you know, it's all the same thing. I don't think he'll shatter. It's going to be real close, though. He's going to be just fine. Yeah, everyone from the OverAchiever side, pretty unhealthy. And you know who's good at killing heroes? Timbersaw. Ogre Magi smoked up. They smell a Shadow Fiend. He has a Haste Rune, though it is going to be running out shortly. And can they get a stun? Oh, they will, but the Chakram actually misses. There's a Whirling Death, and the Chain. Coffin's going to drop very low. Wind Pulse slowed down. There is the Double Edge. Here comes the Double Edge. There it goes. And now Timbersaw is going to Timber Chain his way out of there. Will the stun happen? No stuns will happen. And Ice Ball for Celebration. Cracklebag is going to get hit with that one, but the Ogre Magi is the only one to die. OverAchiever is coming in strong with their reinforcements. Shadow Fiend kind of ignoring him for a good part of this game. However, he's just been happily farming away. Died once, sniped off by the Ancient Apparition, which is, you know, it's not too big of a deal. He's going to go straight for a BKB. Will help him pretty well against the double click side. He won't be protected against the Entangle from the Bear, but really the Entangle just now getting up as the Druid hits level 6. This Lone Druid being in that tri-lane, he's going to be, I guess just by hero comp alone, a little bit more behind the Slaughter, who is level 7. He has 6 assists under his belt, so that's kind of understandable. But Lone Druid definitely needs to get those levels up. Slaughter needs his level up as well, but hell, he has more than enough to function. He has Amplified Damage, and then that's a lot of damage. Whereas Lone Druid, he barely has Entangle, and he might just be the victim once again. There's a ping and a smoke. So now the Sharks are going to converge on the very tasty bear. Will the bear have enough to escape? That's the big question, and so far it looks like the answer is a very, very loud no. There's the crush, there's the hex, there's the shock, there's everything, and the kitchen sink. Artie's going to die. Easy kills. 0-4-0 on this lone druid. Pretty much a non-factor this current stage. I mean, really, what has he done so far? He's barely scraped by in the very early laning stage, and now he's getting walked all over. Pushing isn't the strongest for OverAchievers. No, never mind. They have the Serpent Wards up again, and with the weave, they're going to be tanky as all hell. Can they make this tower push happen without their Shadow Fiend? That's the big question. Reaper's going to spot out someone, but there's a blink forward for Papa Kircher. He's going to get a 2-man stun, double edge on Admiral Ray. He's going to get shackled, and despite the 4-man Ice Blast, it is going to be 2 easy kills. Blink Dagger from the Centaur, plus the Stampede. There is a Blink Dagger on Slaughter, Blink Dagger on Centaur Warrunner, and now Double Click. They have no advantage edge whatsoever. They don't have a Blink Dagger anywhere near for this Magnus. They could like possibly pick off the soft Heroes of Shadow Fiend, but even he's not that soft. He has 1,100 health, and yeah, he's going to be a tough nut to crack. OverAchievers looking to be where Double Click was in the last game as far as, you know, advantage and momentum. They're going to drop the Serpent Wards once again. Will claim another tower. See who gets the last one on this one. Double Click cannot contest this even if they want to. Havoc Badger going to run into Impulse. That's going to be no engagement there, but the tower does go down. And there is now 2 towers left, 2 outer towers left for the Double Click side. OverAchievers just eyeing those towers like it's frickin' candy. They've only lost 1 tower so far, which is why the gold advantage is so huge in favor of the OverAchievers. And they have the initiation edge in a big way. Double Blink Dagger is nothing to sneeze at 15 minutes in, especially if you're off laner. And for the aggressive tri-laner who is, you know, pseudo-successful, there's a Blink Stun onto the Timbersaw. Can they chain it? Oh, you bet they can chain it. That was a very far crush, but that's fine, because the Timbersaw just got absolutely demolished there. And they're just going to keep going. Just keep going, guys. Never stop. Blink forward for a crush. Sen just going to get double stunned. My god, can't anyone stop these guys? Somebody stop them. Their pushing is, once again, pretty slow. All their minus armor is not really going to help them against the structures. But Havoc Badger, in 40 seconds, will have another Mass Serpent Wards. So 30 seconds, and this tower, I think, is just going to go down. Admiral Ray does have his RP up and available, and it looks like, for now, OverAchievers are going to back off. They got what they came for, which is the Tier 2 tower, got a little bit of bonus with the Ancient Apparition, as well as the Timbersaw pickoff. And they might get even more. Artie, yeah, just leave. Do yourself a favor, and peace out. However, they might get the bear. Centaurs versus bears, who will win? I think the answer might just be no one, although there's the crush, amplified damage on the bear as well, double damage on the Coven. This bear is so dead. Centaurs win, guys. In case in the future anyone asks you who to bet on, Centaurs or bears, the answer is Centaurs, because Centaurs have friends and bears are solitary creatures. Now they're going to look towards the final Tier 2 tower of the Double Click side, and really Double Click, they can't fight this even if they wanted to. They need like a miracle fight, and by a miracle fight I mean a reverse polarity on 5, followed by Timbersaw combo, followed by Ancient Apparition shenanigans. They need all that to go correctly for them, and that's just simply not going to happen. OverAchievers are going to be getting the edge in the initiation every single time. Now they have a BKB up on the Shadow Fiend. This tower is going to drop very, very quickly. It might be a 1-for-2 trade, but do they care? Do OverAchievers care? No, they don't. They're just going to keep going, or kill Roshan, or mass teleport onto Admiral Ray. Oh dear. Oh no, he's going to skewer back the Centaur into the stun. That's like the worst possible scenario. Stampede being used a little bit unnecessarily, but yeah, that mag is just so dead. They're not going to push the high ground just yet. They'll get a kill on the Magnus. Getting kills, getting towers, it's all good, man. OverAchievers finding everything that they could possibly want, and then Roshan. Here's where the minus armor... What are these guys doing here? You guys are just so lost. You should not be here, Siege Creep. There's no buildings here. What are you doing? Alright, so here's where the minus armor strat really is really clear. Minus 11. Yeah, it's not bad. Ancient Apparition's going to get a pretty good blast in on all 5, but then what? They're going to beat down Roshan, Slaughter with an Aegis. I think the game plan might just be heal and push. Or Dazzle has level 3 Shadow Wave, so just push and you'll heal on the way. Or get more kills, because this lone druid has had the best game of his life, and you have to shut him down before he gets too dangerous. I actually don't know where the Overachievers are going right now. I guess they want to try to catch someone, but it's a little bit hopeful for them. Maybe they just want to get a couple more big items up. Shadow Shaman getting that level 2 Necro Book. And the Necro Book scales almost absolutely linearly, so there's no huge advantage to waiting to a certain level. I mean, you just get same benefits no matter what. You get like more strength. The Necro units do equal amounts of damage, or proportionally amounts of damage evenly every level. So no really huge target there. 2,000 gold in the Slaughter. He's really far away from his BKB. Centaur with the Boots of Travel, the second Boots of Travel we've seen in this set so far. That's a BKB up on Dazzle, or BKB attempts, possibly a Halberd. I really like Halberd, so I'm gonna say Halberd. And Shadow Fiend, 1,700 gold. Maybe a Blink Dagger on him as well. Is that a little bit unnecessary? It probably is, I would say. But hell, they're holding the fort, and they haven't lost their tier 1 tower in the mid lane. They lost the tower in the top lane, but I mean, all the towers from DoubleClick are down, so do they? I don't think they care. They don't care at all. 15 for 6. Stampede for no reason. Centaur Panic Stampede? It looked like a Panic Stampede to me. Well, okay. I guess they're not going to push for another minute now. But that's fine, because they're farming up. They have the map control edge, albeit slightly. I mean, DoubleClickDota, they do still have some pretty good wards, so they know more or less where the Overachievers are. Just a matter of time before the Shadow Shaman says, screw it, let's push the base. I guess he wants level 11 before he does go for that, and I mean, Artie's forced to teleport out of every single scenario that he's finding himself in, so I guess that's kind of a win. But this is an awkward stage in the game where the people with the advantage don't really want to push because they know that there's a Mag and a Timbersaw on the other team. The people without the advantage don't really want to fight either because they know that they're really far behind. So you kind of just stall out for a little bit. It's going to be up to someone to get caught out, and Admiral Ray almost volunteering for that position. I mean, I would have given it to him. He seems qualified to me. Are they just going to go push? Oh, Senj. Senj, please. He's fine. Everyone's fine. It's just mind games. There's a Pipe of Insight on the Centaur, and yeah, I think that might have been what they were waiting for. Lifesteal and the Shadow Fiend, that couldn't possibly be what they're waiting for. Hyperstone on the Slaughter, probably not what they're waiting for either, but there we go. Dropping the Serpent Wards, Ice Ball going to come in. Will hit onto no one. The fast fingers from Reaper. Saving himself from some HP. But the tower is dropping, and there's no response so far from the DoubleClick side. There's a Blink RP on Magnus, but really, will it do anything? Doesn't look like it will. The Rax is taking quite a bit of damage. They're actually focusing the range Rax Serpent Wards. Pipe is now up. Admiral Ray looking for an angle, though the Poison Touch denying him that Blink Dagger for just a little bit longer. There is no good RP opportunity here, and even if he takes it, so what? You're fighting under the Serpent Wards. You already lost the Raxes. There is no win to be had there. They are forced to give up their mid lane Raxes absolutely for free. Artie is still farming his way up to, I would only assume, to be a Radiance at this point, 2,500 gold. But once you get that, it's way too late. The enemy team already has a pipe. What's the plan from there? It's like, okay, guys, we got the good item, but we lost mid Raxes 20 minutes in, and Overachievers didn't lose a single damn thing for that. It's really scary. They do still have the Aegis for not too much longer. I don't think they're actually going to get value off of this Aegis, but hell, they got the Roshan. They're not really going to be too bothered by that. Now the big question, do we kill top lane or do we kill bottom lane? Looks like there's a pretty big smoke up from the DoubleClick side. They want blood, and they might find down the Shadow Fiend, though he does have a BKB, so they have to be pretty quick. There's, oh my god, he almost like 3-shot him. BKB, gonna deny the Fire Blast and winding up the ultimate. Will get cancelled by the RP, but this is an RP on one. Shadow Fiend will get graved, and he will unleash the ultimate. Crazy, it will get picked off on the sideline. Stomp will kill him off, and well, the Shadow Fiend does die in the end. Senj is not going to live either. Yeah, he's just being chased by angry horse people. And then here comes angry fish people. Yeah, everything's just bad for Ancient Apparition. He's going to go down. It's a 2-for-1 for the Overachievers, and they still have their Serpent Wards. Shadow Fiend's their biggest source of damage, at least right-click damage right now. But I think they could just at least put some damage on the tower. I mean, what else are you going to do with these Serpent Wards? Shadow Shaman, those are still level 1 Serpent Wards, but he has a level 3 book. That's just like the biggest mismatch ever. But hey, might as well just go for it. Drop down Serpent Wards, see what happens. I still think they can take a fight, especially since they have so much initiation on their side right now. Blink into double stomps. Although, they're going to play it safe. Alright. There's no sense taking unnecessary risks. No reason to. Play it safe. Play it cool. They're 10 kills ahead. You don't want to throw the game there. That would just be embarrassing. Instead, they're just going to wait for a potential pickoff. Maybe just lay the Shadow Fiend out to dry again. I mean, that worked pretty well. Shadow Fiend 2-for-1s all day long. Shadow Fiend, you are now a Crystal Maiden. This is your job. This is your life now. Your job is to look tasty. And no one can resist no one can not gank a Shadow Fiend. But it looks like DoubleClick, they're playing defensively enough, and the bear still well on his, well, he doesn't even have a Sacred Relic yet. It's at this time, this is when people, when you go to like Dota 2 subreddit, they're like, well, by 25 minutes, if you don't have the relic, then you should probably just get a different item. He's gonna get the Radiance by like 27. That is if he doesn't get smashed again. And sprint from Slardar. They smell someone. Wind Pulse. Wind Pulse. There's everything under the sun. And there goes the Ogre Magi. That was Stampede, Blink, Double Stomp, with a Heal Bomb on top of that. Yeah. Maybe you could have used Serpent Ward just to add insult to injury. Reaper is going to get dropped very low, but there's one stomp, two stomps, and Crisea is going to get hexed up. No, just shocked. Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast going to come in. Slaughter does dodge that one. But it's a free kill on the Timbersaw, doing a lot of damage to Reaper. So, like, the OverAchievers, they're definitely not invulnerable. Although with the pipe, they will be invulnerable to that Shockwave. And now they're just going to walk right up to the high ground. Where's the Lone Druid? Nobody knows. No one has seen him for a very long time. He might be on the top lane, but, you know, there's really no way to be sure. Papa Karcher going to jump right in once again. He's absolutely fearless. BKB being popped out by the Coven. This Requiem will not do much of anything. This BKB won't do much of anything. But does it matter? No, it doesn't, because they're going to take the Raxes once again. DoubleClick. They're like not even in this game anymore. They're not even fighting. My theory is that the DoubleClick side are all pacifists. And that's really not where you want to be if you are playing this game. Because they just gave up 2 sets of Raxes for free. Their Lone Druid died. Did he buy his relic? I don't know. It would be on his bear, and I don't believe there's any way for me to check. But I'm going to assume he didn't even pick up his relic, so... DoubleClick, they tried to stall, they tried to buy enough time so that their Lone Druid could actually get a big item up and then try to take a team fight, but the RPs weren't there. I mean, they didn't catch anyone. They caught the one Shadow Fiend that one time. And Lone Druid, from the get-go, not having the best of times. I mean, the aggressive tri-lane start from OverAchievers was a little bit wonky, but hey, if it works, it works. Minus Armor really pulling through for them. So we're going to be moving on to a Game 3, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. And, yeah, I'll see you all in Game 3. I hope this is the right button. Now we'll just do this. GG, guys.